So we have some disturbing updates from the Quinshon Judkins domestic violence case. It does not look good for Quinshon. It does not look good for the Cleveland Browns or the NFL. And more importantly, does not look good for the victim in this case. We'll give you those details and tell you what we learned from the article in the Akron Beacon Journal. And we'll talk about this thing up and down on this episode of The Ultimate Browns. Welcome on into the Ultimate Browns. I'm your host, G. Bush. We got a lot of stuff going on in the table. As you know, breaking news broke over the weekend in terms of what's going on with Browns' second-round running back, Quinshon Judkins. He had a domestic violence battery case brought against him in the state of Florida, and that's been really taking up the news. I'll give you my thoughts and opinions on the situation. We'll also give some new details that came out in the Akron Beacon Journal talking about this said case, and we'll talk about that the majority of the day. And this is one of those shows you really don't want to get into. This is one of those shows that, you know, when you do sports talk and you talk about sports for a living, this is one of those shows where you kind of, you know, get the dread in the bottom of your stomach when you hear it. You wait to hear what the allegations are. You wait to hear what the case notes are, and you wait to see what the police report has brought to you before you kind of just jump to conclusions. That's the par of the, for the course right now. But some of the stuff that I'm seeing is just a little disturbing, and it's not good. And it's part of the job, and you have to get through it. So we will talk about this case and kind of give my thoughts on it as well. We'll also get into, can you blame Andrew Berry? We talked about this on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We'll dive into, some people are blaming Andrew Berry for the amount of domestic violence cases and the assault cases that the Cleveland Browns have kind of racked up over the last couple of years with free agents, draftees, and guys that they traded for. So we'll talk about, can you actually afford to blame and how much blame does Andrew Berry get in this case? We'll kind of tackle that as well. And then we talk about what's next. What's coming up next for the Cleveland Browns? Right now, is there suspension on the board? I'll give you my thoughts on what the league will probably do. And then talk about, from a football standpoint, how many games could he tend to miss? Would this mess up training camp? He's not even signed right now financially to the Browns, right? He was still arguing over the guarantees with the money. I'm pretty sure that took a hit right now. But in general, what's up next and who's up next? More importantly, that's going to shoulder the load. Browns did not bring back Nick Chubb. He's with the Texans. He leaves you Dylan Sampson and Jerome Ford. So we'll talk about that. We'll break it all down right here on this episode. But first, let's get to some of the disturbing details, because when the details came out, there was a discrepancy when the first little news started to trickle out about why she waited 5 or so days to file this police report, this claim. And now that you see the police report, and now that you see what's going on in the reporting from the Akron Beacon Journal and Daniel Ofusie, who is Ofusie, who's been on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. He covers the Browns for ESPN. They both had articles out talking about the timeline, the police report, and different things like that. Let's start with the Akron Beacon Journal. We covered this information on the Ultimate Browns, not the Ultimate Browns, but Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Me, Jason Lloyd, and Tyvis Powell. Earl did a good job of directing the show today, and he had this and sent me this information last night. So let's take a look at this. This was actually in the Akron Beacon Journal. So the Fort Lauderdale Police Department incident report provided more details about the arrest of Cleveland Browns running back Quinshon Judkins. Judkins was arrested July 12th in Broward County, Florida, on misdemeanor touch or strife/battery domestic violence. According to the report, the victim, whose name was redacted, arrived in Fort Lauderdale on July 7th and was picked up by Judkins. After entering a rented SUV with Judkins, she stated he confronted her over text messages received from his family members, and they argued. Now, it's pure speculation as to what those text messages could be about. All we know is they were text messages that he found he was upset about, and they began to argue about it. The victim stated she was trying to explain to the defendant that the messages were not true. The victim stated she suffers from anxiety and began to stutter while explaining herself. According to the report, the victim stated that the defendant then punched her in the mouth, chin area, with a closed fist. The victim still had visible bruising on her chin area. The victim showed me a photograph that she took the following day after her chin or lip area, and the bruising was clearly evident. So let's move on to this. After exiting the vehicle at some point, she called Judkins' mother, not disclosing what happened. She eventually returned to the car, sitting in the back seat where arguing continued, with her contending the text messages were taken out of context. Judkins, the victim states, struck her several more times in the arm and the thigh. The victim had visible bruising on her left arm and thigh. The victim also displayed photographs that were taken just after the incident with similar bruising, according to the report. The victim stated that while the defendant was striking her in the instance, she began to kick her feet in a direction to the defendant in order to defend herself. She eventually exited SUV, but returned telling Judkins, "Don't touch me again." The victim was asked why she did not contact 911. The victim stated she felt bad due to the recent success and career of the defendant. The report said the victim stated she didn't want to contact police on today's day after. Oh, excuse me. Hold on. The victim stated that she decided to contact the police on today's day after speaking with family and friends and coming to the realization something needed to be done. When officers made contact with Judkins, he invoked his right to remain silent. This was in the Akron Beacon Journal, and George M. Thomas wrote this. He covers a lot of things from sports to pop culture. So this was in the Akron Beacon Journal. Let's follow that up with Mr. Afusi, who covers the Browns for ESPN. And let's get to what he had to write. And this was in ESPN today. It says Cleveland Browns rookie running back Quinshon Judkins was arrested on domestic violence and battery charge in Fort Lauderdale, Florida on Saturday, according to the Fort Lauderdale Police Department and Broward County arrest records. The 21-year-old Judkins had his initial court appearance Sunday morning, and his bond was set for $2,500. The charges described as touch or strike battery domestic violence, according to the arrest records. The charge is a misdemeanor, and Fort Lauderdale Police Sergeant David Sequoia told ESPN. The judge at the bond hearing found probable cause and ordered that Judkins had no contact with the woman who was accusing him and that he is not allowed to have access to any firearms. Judkins left the Broward County Jail on Sunday afternoon. Now, granted, in the last report, what we see is they have already said that she has supporting details and documentation with pictures showing the bruises. So she took those in real time right after they happened. According to the last report that we read on in the police report and we read in Akron Beacon Journal, it also says that she had those photographs shown, and she still has some physical bruising that kind of corroborated it still when she actually made the final report. So Sequoia said the officers responded to a residence at approximately 9 a.m. Eastern on delayed battery complaint and determined that the battery had occurred. Now, when this first came out, we talked about what kind of evidence do you think that they had? And obviously from looking at her bruising that was in front of them and having the pictures that she showed them, they rightfully so said there's probable cause that something did happen here. And after which they contacted Judkins and took him into custody. According to the arrest report, the alleged incident happened last Monday, but wasn't reported until Saturday. Per the arrest report, Judkins, after showing frustration following reading text messages from his family, allegedly punched the woman with a closed fist in the chin lip area while driving in a vehicle departing from Fort Lauderdale International Airport. Judkins then later allegedly also struck her on the left arm and thigh. The woman showed officers photographs showing bruising from the alleged assault. Asked why she waited, and we talked about this before, she felt bad due to the recent success of his career. The defendant, however, after speaking with family and friends, she contacted the police, realizing something needed to be done. The woman said she and Judkins were currently in a romantic relationship after rekindling their relationship in June of 2025. Judkins, meanwhile, invoked Miranda rights when he asked questions with officers per arrest report. His attorney, David Weinstein, told the judge during the hearing that I think the state's overstating the facts, and said it appeared that the woman had been encouraged to take advantage of my client. The Browns said that they are aware of the gathering they are aware of what's going on in the gathering, more details, according to the team spokesperson. The NFL is aware of the matter, but will decline further comment, a league official told ESPN Adam Schefter. So there's a lot just reading that in here. And the reason I went through a lot of that is to catch you guys up on, if you have not been told what was been going on, or figure out how we moving with this. So that took up a lot of the time. But my thoughts when I'm hearing this, don't look good, bro. Don't look good. Nasty work. First and foremost, I don't care what the text messages said at all. I don't care. I don't care if that what they said. You can't put no hands on nobody at all. You don't have a right to do that. And people nowadays get angry sometimes, and they get into their feelings and their emotions, and they lash out. And at the end of the day, that's not an excuse for nothing. You can't put your hands on somebody. You can't put no hands on your woman, like a woman like that. First of all, you got to understand, you are a machine, bro. Like when you are working, like when you are a physical specimen, you lift weights. You are a physically God-gifted, supreme top 1% athlete. You can't put your hands on nobody. One of the things that I always got, and I used to do this stuff with officers, like at Ohio University, and we would be in these self-defense classes, right? And me and my brother took Taekwondo, and we were talking about different things, and how the cops was explaining to us just how the law works. People don't understand, even if you even in self-defense, you are only allowed to defend yourself enough so that a reasonable person would think that you get yourself out of harm's way. So if somebody that comes up to me that is 5'2", 135 pounds, and they don't have a weapon, but they push me, I can't turn around and then punch this dude dead in his face, and he falls out and is in a coma. They're going to arrest me because they're going to say, he pushed you. You're faster than him. You could have ran away. You're bigger than him. You could have ignored it. The only way he was not threatening you. A push from him is not threatening your life. You're 6'5", 300 pounds, and you run faster than all civilians. You're stronger than all civilians. So you can't even do that in self-defense, let alone just on the outside looking in like you going I'm upset. We got to, and it's a lot of it too is, and I know I come out sometimes, and a lot of people say, I'm one of those people that come out and say, listen, I need to see all the data. I need to see all the stuff before I get into it. And even when you ask me what my opinion is, most of the time I'm slanting towards an athlete. I'm slanting. I would probably say that most likely I could see eye to eye with the plight of an athlete over the plight of an organization, or over the plight of coaches or the front office. In this case, none at all. Not at all. This is cut and dry, man. I waited to, one of my questions was, well, why did she wait so long? After reading the police report, come on, man. You're doing too much. And even if he's saying she did this, there ain't no such thing as provoking nothing. At the end of the day, he was dead wrong for it. It's a mistake. And what he's gonna have to realize is this is gonna be on his scorecard forever. There's certain things on your life stuff that you can get over, but there's certain things that's gonna follow you for the rest of your life. And domestic violence is one of those things. And to me, it's a sign of we have to do better as a society. We got to do better as men in general. To like, come on, man. Like at the end of the day, we got to do better. You know what I'm saying? Like you worked your whole life to get to a point where you about to really sign a deal that gives you generational wealth. Your mom is really pivotal in your life. Your mom is really probably one of your she manages a lot of your business. Come on, man. You got to realize that even if you mad, like if somebody did that to your mom, how would you feel about that? And I'm not sitting up here saying that I'm better than nobody else. We done all had arguments where we done got in heated arguments with significant others, but by the grace of God, I think that I ain't never been put in a position where I had to do something like that or put myself in that situation. Because I'm not saying we all human and we all fallible. I'm not saying that none of us, none of us are above reproach that we won't do something and won't make mistakes in life for different things. But, this is a tough one to swallow because you're a couple of days away from camp. And sometimes, and some people need to hear this sometimes. You could work your whole life for something and have it gone in one instant. You know how many people is in jail because they was mad for 5 seconds and their whole life is gone because they did them, because they was angry, because they was mad, because their emotions got involved. You see what I'm saying? You work your whole life and everything you work for, you could be a great person. You can do community work. The crazy thing about it is he had to cancel his football clinic where he was going to do meet and greets with kids and different things like that. He had to cancel it. Obviously going through legal troubles like this. But it's there's a lot of, I go to jails all the time, man. I go to jails. I go to prisons. I go to prisons, man. And there's guys in there that have done something that took people's lives, that did damage to families that they can never ever get back. And now 2 families is messed up because now I'm talking to you and you saying, yeah, I'm getting ready to get sentenced. They gave me 35 years. One of the hardest things in the world that I've ever had to deal with is going into a place and going to talk to some juveniles. And a guy came up to me, and it was a domestic violence case, and his mother was getting abused by her boyfriend, and the kid took it upon himself to protect his mother. Long story short, the boyfriend was permanently out of the picture. I don't want to get demonetized, but you understand. And this kid, they gave him 25 years. And he came to me after we were sitting there. And after he said, man, your story is so, I want to get into broadcasting. I want to, I'm thinking about trying to do it while I'm in prison. And I said, okay, well, hit me up, I'll give you any knowledge that I can. I'll give you the knowledge that I use. And he said, well, it's going to be a while. I'm getting sentenced and I got 25. Man, it hit me like a ton of bricks, bro. I mean, this dude was younger. This dude's like 16, 25 years. 25 years. And I'm not empathizing too with just him because he had money on the line. Hey, listen, she didn't deserve it, and this is all allegedly, given the information that we got, allegedly. We may have more information that come out and it may change or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, I'm talking in general and I'm trying to give some game to some people. And I'm trying to, if a person can hear this and be like, you know what, man, I ain't doing that, or I know I'm in a tough relationship. It's better to live to fight another day. It's better if that person like that, y'all ain't good together, please go your separate ways, please, right? But as far as the victim, bro, she didn't deserve that, and she didn't ask for that. So, a lot of times we put it in a perspective where it's just all about the athlete because they play football and they play for the Browns and we invested in that. But that young lady she didn't ask for that. She shouldn't even have been put in no position where she had to trust what she had to say. Well, should I go tell because I know that he didn't work to this point and he in the league and he just about to get his big payday. So now she got to go to the crib. Her family and friends see her face. And now they're like, nah, I'm not. Nah, I don't care who he play for. Now we gotta go. We gotta go talk to some authorities about this. So to me, I'm willing to wait for more details to come out. I don't know what's gonna come of it, but that's an police report, and some of them details. It's not good, man. We got to do better. We got to start moving differently. If you with somebody and that person and y'all not vibing, y'all not good together, you arguing a lot, bro, go find somebody you compatible with, or do the work that you need to do on yourself to ask yourself, why am I getting this angry? You got some other underlying things that you might need to figure out. So with that being said, it's just disturbing. And by the way, it's a business situation. We'll kind of throw that forward here in a second. Due to where he's picked, I don't think nothing gonna happen in terms of the Browns moving on from him. We'll kind of talk about that when we get into the Andrew Berry thing coming back here in a second. But first, we got to get to one of our sponsors. You're listening to the Ultimate Browns right here on the UCSS Network. And every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Which players are showing up in the biggest moments, and how could tracking their trends help you build your next big bet? What would it look like to combine live prop bets mid-game based on how action unfolds? How could a $200 bonus in bonus bets add to the excitement if your first $5 bet hits? New to FanDuel? It's a perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com/UCSS and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Welcome back to the fastest 30 minutes in all of sports. It's your boy G. Bush right here on the Ultimate Browns. Quinshon Judkins. He's the talk of the city for all the wrong reasons right now. A couple of weeks before training camp and when rookies are supposed to report, but we're talking about this situation and his battery domestic violence case is nothing new to Browns fans. There have been a lot of scandal, as we would like to say. You start with Deshaun Watson. You can go back to Johnny Manziel a little bit with some of his legal issues. Josh Gordon is obviously in there. Kareem Hunt was a model citizen when he got here, but how he got here, there was domestic violence in that situation as well. Perrion Winfrey, another guy in the 4th round defensive tackle. Malik McDowell was a guy who was in trouble with the law enforcement and different things like that. So, Andrew Berry has had multiple guys that he has, been involved with, either whether it's trading for him, whether it's scouting and drafting them, or whether it's free agents that they bring in. There have been guys with checkered past, to say the least, with the Cleveland Browns, and this is another one, 2nd round pick. Coming out of Ohio State, we forgot about Mike Hall Jr. Just last year, got suspended 5 games. Now, in his case, I believe his fiance or his significant other recanted the story and later came back and recanted. But that doesn't stop the league's decision. Deshaun Watson, we talked about that case ad nauseum. Deshaun Watson, he wasn't convicted in a court of law. 2 grand juries, acquitted him. However, him and Justin Tucker received 10 and 11 games suspensions, respectfully. And it had nothing to do with whether or not the legal system got him. So in this case, even though they recanted, Mike Hall Jr. last year got 5 games. In this case, I don't know what's going to happen moving forward. But first of all, there was enough probable cause. There was enough, circumstantial evidence as they saw that they said, oh, we're going to go move forward with this. Now, I don't know if it ends up in court, whether they settle out of court, whatever the case may be. It's a misdemeanor, not a felony. But the NFL is going to look at it the same way. But this got 5-6 games written all over it. And I think that's 6-game minimum to me. That's 6 minimum. Because there's pictures involved. There are obviously there's some documentation here. And when you see that information, and if the NFL is privy to it, it could be more than that. Now, the thing that we talk about with Andrew Berry is, can you put this on Andrew Berry? Now, let me come at this from 2 ways. Here's what I'm going to say. I got to watch how I do this. I've been critical of Andrew Berry in terms of his draft choices and some of the picks he made, not panning out, no development. I don't think he had a plan to certain places he drafted guys, some of the free agents he brought in. All these different things go into whether or not you're a good GM. But let me just tell you this. I'm a firm believer of this. As men, we stand for ourselves. I believe in the way my faith is, you stand and you have to be held account to the great creator. Everybody stands solo. You don't get to go up there with your mom, your dad, your wife, your kids. You go solo. And so my thought process is, Andrew Berry didn't do nothing to nobody. Andrew Berry is not around here roughing his wife up. Andrew Berry is a businessman, and he's a football talent evaluator. I can't put nobody else's actions on him. Like when they asked when Aaron Hernandez was doing all kind of heinous things. Well, what if Belichick know and Urban? Listen, stop that. You're a grown man. Nobody was in that car with you when you was doing that. So in terms of blaming that on somebody else, I can't do it. Now, if there was red flags, if there was something that came across your desk in the evaluation process, and it said he done that X, Y, and Z, and we done vetted him, and you still move ahead, then by all means you can be held accountable because you had an opportunity to say yes or no, and you chose to say yes. So you got to take you got to be the bearer, the brunt of that news. But if you do your evaluation, nothing comes up, and as far as I know, talking to Tyvis, who is intimately connected with Ohio State, a lot of other guys that I know intimately, they tell me, G. Bush, I never saw this coming, never saw this side of him, never. And I will say this too. A lot of people say what they won't do. Never say what you will and won't do. You know why? Because I don't want to be put in a position they have to find out. I don't know what the text message says. Sometimes when you can't unsee something, it puts you in a state where your faculties is gone. That don't condone nothing, because you still gonna have to stand for whatever the consequences is that happen as a result of you doing that. But I can't sit here and tell Andrew Berry that he somehow personally should be held accountable for it, because if there's nothing in his past, you can't know what a person will or won't do. He's responsible for drafting or signing 53 people. If 1 or 2 of them decide on their own account as grown men to go do something dumb, That's on them. That's on their mix CD. All he could do is then figure out what he want to do moving forward. Now, let's talk about moving forward. The league gonna give him them 6. He gonna get them 6 from, listen, I'm just telling you right now, that's coming. At minimum. But here's the thing. What people will hold you accountable for, remember what I said about emotions. Emotions are a funny thing. Emotions are irrational. We understand that it ain't your fault, Andrew Berry, but people can understand it's not your fault and still hold you accountable. Let me give you an example. It's a death by 1,000 cuts. It's not the fact that you drafted Anthony Schwartz or you gave Deshaun Watson the deal. He didn't turn out to be good. You got the dead cap. We're not telling you it's the Tommy Togiai's or the Siaki Ikas or the Perrion Winfreys or the Malik McDowells and the fact that Mike Hall Jr., the second round pick, got in trouble, 5-game suspension. Now you got another guy from Ohio State. By the way, Ohio State has some good players, good people. Don't jumble them all in. It's a case-to-case scenario. And now you got the 4-quarterback room. You don't know who you want to start. Like, it isn't the fact that it's just one of those things. It's the fact that people are emotional. And they're going to look at you and say, you could have kept Nick Chubb. I just had a video. It's so foreshadowing. This is such foreshadowing. I just had a video talking about, I don't know if this is going to come back to haunt the Cleveland Browns. I just put one up on this channel of Nick Chubb in his tearful, like gracefully bowing out, walking out of the building, said, I don't know if I'm going to ever play there again. I just had a video talking about, could Quinshawn Judkins be a superstar for the Browns? I just dropped that. Just put it out. It's fresh. And that's how quickly life can come at you. Because now, the very next week, we talking about suspensions, whether or not you're going to get guaranteed bonus money. And the bonus money is already pretty much slotted, but you ain't even signed no deal. Now, by the way, it ain't like they can take his contract and make him play for free. The contract is slotted. So basically, they know what the number is per year. They know what the bonus money is supposed to be. But he wanted 100% of the bonus money guaranteed. He may get, according, I talked to Jason about it, we talked about it on the show, he may get 75, 80% of it, right? He's still gonna have a contract, he's still gonna sign. That's not a problem. The problem is this. If you're Andrew Berry, sometimes the look can get you. Sometimes the look is worse than what it actually really means. The fact that Nick Chubb is in the Houston Texans organization, and the fact that your number one running back, who you expected to be your bell cow back, is now looking at suspension after your second round pick last year is looking. Think about that. And it might not be that Andrew Berry loses his job because one specific reason. It could be he loses his job because this is a death by 1,000 cuts. It's not just that. It's the Deshaun Watson. It's not that just yet. You let Nick Chubb walk. It's not just that. You can't develop a receiver. It's not just that. It's the simple fact that Jed Wills was a bust. It's not just the fact that you keep drafting D tackles every year. Togiai, Perrion Winfrey. You can't find Mike Hall Jr. You just got Mason Graham this year. You passed on Travis Hunter. It's a bunch of different things. Your quarterback situation. You don't know. You want to play Kenny Pickett at quarterback. You see how those things start to progress and balloon, and you be like, man, is it better we just move on? Maybe we need a new vision, a new voice, a new perspective, somebody with a different energy. That's how it usually comes. That's how it usually starts. Coupled with the fact that you're not supposed to win no games. That's why I always tell people, all that tanking stuff and waiting for next year stuff is not feasible. We are all one play away from being on the front page of the paper, and you end up with one of your draft picks that may be suspended for a long period of time. The Haslam's may perfectly well know that it's not your fault. It still don't change the way that the emotions work. You can't be out here with 4 wins and people, the guys who you think is supposed to help you out, is suspended with these type of headlines. So can you blame them? No, personally, but heavy is the head that wears the crown. And unfortunately, this is a business, and you are representative of everybody on the roster. Coach used to always say, either you teaching it or you're letting it happen. I used to think it was crazy till I got older. Let's keep it pushing. When we get back, we move this thing forward. I always said I like Dylan Sampson. He gets an opportunity. It's always a silver lining in it for somebody else. And Dylan Sampson is going to have an opportunity to show what he can do. And I'm going to tell you why that's not a bad thing. Coming up right here on The Ultimate Browns. Let's talk about my favorite app to get tickets. It's the Game Time app. And let me tell you what, whether it's concerts, whether it's going to the Guardians game out there in beautiful Progressive Field in the summertime, or in the wintertime when you're getting ready to go watch Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley, those guys over at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, the Game Time app has you covered. Game Time has a new feature called the Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on the great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. We can actually test drive those seats as well by getting a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy it. The lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. The Game Time's ticket coverage, you purchase your ticket, is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code word locked on for $20 off of your first purchase. Once again, you download the Game Time app, you use the code locked on NFL, LOCKEDON NFL, for $20 off your first purchase. Service terms may apply. And don't forget, download Game Time today. What time is it? You know what it is. It's game time. Welcome back to the fastest 30 minutes in all of sports. Your boy G. Bush rocking and rolling with the Ultimate Browns. We talked about Judkins and him possibly missing time, more than likely missing time this season due to the domestic violence case. So that leaves who? We got Jerome Ford. You don't have Nick Chubb anymore. Man, boy, that would be looking good if we had Nick Chubb. It'd be great to have Nick Chubb at this point, wouldn't it be? Well, that's water under the bridge. But let's talk about who they do have. They have Jerome Ford and this guy. He said, this is on Twitter for Browns Nation. I look at Dylan Sampson and the impact that he can have as a third down back, as a home run hitter. I'm gonna tell you what, I agree. I like Dylan Sampson. I liked him coming out of Tennessee. I believe he had almost 1,500 yards in the SEC, over 20 touchdowns. He has a burst. He has a speed to him. He can move the chains. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. And I'm going to tell you what, we talk about the saving graces, right? Sometimes one person's calamity could be somebody's come up. Because right now, Dylan Sampson Dylan Sampson just became the number one back. And a lot of people are trying to act like him and Jerome Ford are close. They are not close. The skill set that Dylan Sampson has, he's a smaller type running back, but he runs hard. And the thing that really could save Andrew Berry is this. You're lucky, bro. You're lucky you got two running backs. You're lucky you got two of them. That may save your job. What truly may save his job, Andrew Berry, because this is crazy. If Dylan Sampson is a ball player, and either Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders become a franchise quarterback. Ain't it crazy how things happen like that? Because even if Quinshon Judkins is in trouble and Shedeur Sanders are one of the quarterbacks hit, don't nobody care. And if Dylan Sampson is a guy that you got in the 4th, 5th rounds, somewhere late in the draft, and he becomes a guy that you get a chance to see because Quinshawn Judkins was in not on the field. Come on now. And I think he has the ability to do that. I think he has the. I've been talking about him all offseason, and a lot of people want to use it as like a backup, like, oh, he down the line somewhere. No. This dude did it in the best conference. This dude did it in the SEC. And his 20 touchdowns show he's just not a regular scat back. See, the thing that leaves me with Jerome Ford is Jerome Ford lacks the ability to put a shoulder pass down and get two tough yards. Get them tough yards. Well, you got to go through another grown man's chest to get it. Got to go through another grown man's chest to even be eligible to get them 2 yards. Jerome Ford is great on sweeps and tosses and screens, and he gets outside. But I need somebody to get 2 tough yards. This guy, even though he has speed, he has burst, he's smaller in stature, he's not afraid to put his shoulder down and get what he need to get. Now, the question I have and the question I'm thinking about for the Cleveland Browns is this. How often or what are you looking at now in terms of the running back room? Are you cool with 2 running backs now? Because now some people are like, do you got to bring a veteran? Do you got to go get somebody else that can help you out a little bit? Because the reality of the situation, when you're down to 2 backs, especially when you're dealing with Jerome Ford, who's been injury prone, who has hamstring issues, who is not the most durable guys, you need another back in here. So now you went from a position of young and strength in running back in the youth movement to now you might need to go get you somebody that may be on the open market. Maybe you need to get somebody that's on the open market. So to me, but I do believe this is a great opportunity for Dylan Sampson because I think he was going to be getting some carries. I think you're going to get an extended look at him now. Now, Quinshawn Judkins, I do believe the suspension. I want to see how this plays out because I want to see if the suspension drops. And it's all speculation. Nobody told me he was getting suspended. Don't be cool. But I'm saying the league has exercised their right to suspend people even when the legal process has not decided to do anything. So that's why I'm kind of on the side of, this was going to happen. So when I look at Dylan Sampson, I want to know if he's going to be a guy getting more carries in the preseason. And I'll be honest to see and anxious to see what's going on with Judkins and whether or not he's going to play in the preseason game, right? Because that may change how the Browns view certain things like that. Well, if this guy going to be a starter, we might want to pare that down a little bit. So I'm interested in seeing how that went. But, and kind of wrapping everything up, it's unfortunate, but it's part of the world that we live in today. And if anything, I just hope that people learn from other people's mistakes, and a lot of these young brothers and young athletes out here, understand yourself, man. Understand that you've done the heavy lifting. Don't get to the doorstep and disqualify yourself. You've made it. You're your friends that got left behind, your friends that may have not been living right now, or that's in the penitentiary, or your cousins or your family members. Bro, you are providing for all of these people. Don't get to the doorstep and let one lapse in judgment derail everything you've been working for. And first and foremost, too, my thoughts are with the victim. She didn't deserve that. There's the 911 tape out there. And I just wish, we could all do better in our relationship and our communication, because this is a telltale sign of what we're doing in society now. And you see it in entertainment, you see it in sports, you see it in our politics, you see it in movies, you see it in everywhere. We have to do better, and we need to have a better way of expressing our emotions, other than violence and doing things like that. With that being said, you never know when G Bush gonna show up. I can be radio, television, internet, but if you want a fresh take, that fresh cut on sports, you know the barbershop here, and I keep the Clippers with me. Have a great rest of your weekend, and as I always say, go Browns.